Hello and welcome back to Flawless Culture. So today we are going to be installing all these tasty little bits here. Obviously, if you haven't seen my video before, these are all the parts that I've got to upgrade my little K20. Hopefully getting a K24 soon. So we're up at Gilly's place. Hello Gilly. Just yeah, so we've got steering rack as well, because the one that I've got in at the moment, I've done a manual kind of like swap or manual delete. This is going to be a power steering rack. Got the power steering pump in the back. There's a manifold there that I'm hoping to get fitted, but I don't know if we'll have enough time or not. Lines as well for the oil, for the power steering fluid, and then we're going to do the oil change because we're putting in the baffled sump. So plenty of work to do. We're going to crack on. Probably going to start draining the oil now. Let's get to it. Shine bright like a diamond. Diamond. So that's the dirty oil coming out. I think I've done about 2,000 miles now, I think.
It's not bad.
I think, yeah, about 2,000 miles. So it's fairly black. Good stuff that's coming out. So once that's drained, then we'll start on doing all the M10s, I think they are. Say M10s, M12s, all the way around. Take the sump off. Right, so we've got all the bolts out now. Fucking loads of them. Loads of them. Even little glory hole up there, look. So what we're going to do now is just prise it off up here. Just very carefully go around. Just try and find somewhere to get a bit of leverage and just pop her off. Well, Gilly's looking for a Stanley blade. So we've got the sump off now. You made Stanley. Made Stanley. Yeah, so what we're going to do is just get rid of all the Honda Bond all the way around here, and then on the sump as well. Get a bit of a tack rag, clean it all up, and then we'll yeah, get the baffle on and get the sump back on. So here's a baffled sump on. Just get this light so you can see. Just hanging there loosely. Made a little mark up there because we've got to have it like 4 1/4 inch away from this bit here. Just had a trial run. It is a bit fiddly to get it all lined up, but we're gonna send it. And then also up here as well, I've put a pressure sensor up there, so new oil filter. Yeah, so we're sending it. So what I'm going to do now is just quickly clean all this up. I've got all the Honda Bond off it. It's just literally just cleaning it all up again, make sure it's okay. Get the Honda Bond on, and then we've probably got about 10 minutes to get it on, otherwise it sets and it's a bastard to get off. So yeah, let's go. Right, that's the sump on. There's all your Honda Bond just setting, so basically torqued it up as per the manual. So, wasn't actually too bad fitting it in. Had a couple of goes at it. Dry running, it's just making sure that the actual the baffle was in line with some fins that are in the pan, but other than that, that's it. But as you can see, we've got the wheels off now. Going to start sorting the rack out down there and stripping that down to put it on here. So I thought I'd keep you updated with the progress. So basically what I'm doing at the moment is just trying to remove the steering rack. So as you can see, got all the bolts undone. Well, you can't really see clearly, but issue that I'm having is I haven't got enough room, so I'm gonna have to drop the downpipe and manifold. Like I say, I've got this side off as well, so I'm hoping once I've taken the manifold off, then obviously that'll drop down, and then that'll give me enough room to pull the rack out. So I'm just going to drop the car down now, and then obviously unbolt the manifold from the top. Right, so this is the manual rack, power steering rack. Managed to get that out. Had to take off the inner tie rod / tie rod end. I needed to do that anyway to swap them over to the other rack. Sorry. Obviously need to take this side off, swap it with that side. But what I'm probably going to do is take them both off and leave the tie rod ends off until I get the rack in the car. Just makes it so much easier, because there's a manifold there, and that's the one that I want to put on it at some point. It's really tight. just getting the rack out of here. So just trying to fiddle it through. There's probably a better way than what I've done, but anyway, it's out now, so all happy. And nice 3-inch exhaust. Film a bit of Gilly.
Hello.
Doing his skyline, look how pretty it is. Just about ready for its MOT. It's got some nice wheels coming for it as well. What are you doing, Gil?
Just doing bits and bobs, really.
Just bits and bobs. Look at the JDM light, look. Tidy. Right, I can't remember where I got up to, but basically I stripped both of the racks down. What I'm doing now is putting the AN fittings in. So we've got an M14 and an M16, and these are to a dash 6. So that'll go on to them. We've got some swivels in the toolbox there, and obviously we'll come off that, or come off these ends with the swivel, and then it'll go into the car and then to the pump. So basically what I'm going to do is just tighten them up, put the rack back on the car, and then the tie rod ends I'll put on the car, just make it a little bit easier. So that's pretty much where I'm at the moment. So I'll get this done, get it in the car, and then I'll start filming other bits. So we're day 2 now. We spent 6 hours getting a rack out, putting a rack in, putting the baffled sump in as well. It actually said on the instructions 3 hours, and yes, I did read them because I just wanted to make sure I did it right. And it's 3 hours. Poor old Gilly. You look cold, mate.
Oh, not cold.
Yeah, so basically what I'm going to do while the car's up in the air is I'm going to drain the coolant, because we're putting the intake manifold on after we've dropped the car basically. The rack's on and all buttoned up, so that was fairly easy. Just put it in without the like tie rods or the track rod ends, which made it a lot easier. Bit fiddly trying to get the ends in, but other than that, not too bad. So yeah, let's get to draining the coolant. Here we are, draining away. So you actually see me doing something for once. Right, so the radiator's drained, just filled up the oil. Obviously got oil everywhere, standard procedure for me. Just noticed that the wheels are actually towing out, so I think the rack must have been a shorter rack than the other one. I've got the other side, the other wheel, as straight as I can get it. Looks like it's pointing out a tiny little bit, it's hard to see on camera, but this side is definitely like pointing out, so I'm gonna have to lift it back up and just adjust this to make sure that that's straight. I'm also removing the steering wheel as well, because I've got a steering wheel to put on it, so I might as well do that. In the meantime, what I've actually been doing is just wiring up the switch for the electric pump. So I've got ground, a switch live, and then obviously the signal to the pump. Got the power cable already ran, and that's gone through there. Just get rid of that for now. What else have I got to do? So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm just going to drill a hole in a dash there, obviously take the wires out, push the switch in, and then she's good to go. And then literally I'm going to run the hoses for the pump, the oil line straight through the chassis there. Probably going to go through that grommet, if you can see it, just hole saw it a little bit wider so I could get two in, and then run them all the way back there. Right, so finally got all the lines in for the power steering rack, got it wired up on there as well. Let me just run you through. It looks a bit scruffy at the moment. I'm just going to make sure it all works properly and then sort about putting the fixings together. So like I say, it looks like there's excess can't even think of the word pipe, but it's not. Obviously once I start tucking it up and that, it'll all straighten out. So I've just filled up the pump itself with some CHF. So what we're going to do is put battery onto the car and then flick the switch that looks like a NOS button, but it's not. Switch on there, and hopefully should be alright. Well, we'll soon see. Right, so our survey says, flick this on, this should be less resistance anyway. Little pump spooling up, There you go, look at that, power steering! Yes! It's just whirring away in the background. Awesome. Look at the flex on that hose. Awesome. Absolutely buzzing about that. So now I've got power steering, so you probably noticed that I'm back at home now, ran out of time on Gilly's ramp. We did have an issue when we was at Gilly's anyway. The actual switches, toggle switches, those faulty, never had an issue with it before, but basically when you switched it on, the actual LED light didn't come on, the pump didn't come on. We swapped the power wires round, then the pump would come on, but the LED light stayed on, you know, when the toggle switch was off and on. So just faulty, so I've had to wait a couple of days for the new switches to come, put a new switch in, and as you see it's working perfectly now. So I know that the wiring's good. I also went an extra mile, put an inline fuse in the permanent live, so that's yeah, so that's fused. And then in the back as well, I did this when I installed it, but there's a 60 amp, I believe it is, 60 amp fuse in there, no sorry, 80 amp fuse in there. This draws, I think it's at full tilt 75 amps, when you're cruising doing slight turns about 35 amps, and then the power wire that's rated to 100 amps. But other than that, just got all this to tidy up, which I will do. Obviously P-clip it to the side, just got another hole to drill out and bend this bracket down, so I'll riven up the chassis and then obviously cut that off, get rid of that, knock that down. But anyway, that's other things to do, and then generally just tidy up the lines to the steering rack, so I'll go down the side, run down the chassis leg, all nice and tidy. And as you can see, you need to get rid of all this grot at some point. But if I'm going to have a cage in, then that's the last thing that I'm going to be worried about, because obviously, you know, there's going to be welding and all sorts of stuff to the inside. So, but anyway, I'm going to start putting on the intake manifold, so yeah, get that done. So I've got the battery off, just letting that charge up. At the moment I'm just taking all the sensor plugs off, for map sensor, throttle position sensor and all that type of jazz. So I'm going to take this terminal off here, get the injector plugs off, take the earth off as well, and then pull all that to the side. Then can start taking the injectors off, fuel lines off. Right, so we've got the throttle body off now. Reason why I've taken this off is because TPS sensor, I need to basically cut a slit into these to get the bolts out. The rest of the sensors I can literally just undo with a posi drive and then put them onto the new throttle body. And here we go with the intake manifold. So this should literally just had it off. It's camera shy. Hang on. Boom. There you go. Right. So that's that off there. That's cool. Need that. Put that down there. Right. So I'm probably gonna keep the hybrid brace one on. I'll just give that a good clean up. Clean all this up inside here. Looks alright in there, to be fair. Yes, so in the back, like I say, we do have Skunk2 inlet manifold, and then also the 70mm throttle body there. I'll do a comparison in a minute. Right, so old intake, new intake, new throttle body, old throttle body. So when I put the idle control valve back onto this here, what I'm going to do, because I'm not running the coolant lines onto the new throttle body, this comes with a kit, so I'll put that in there. That'll blank that off, take that off there, put it onto there, and then TPS onto there, and then also your map sensor. It doesn't have the purge valve, so obviously that'll be deleted and I'll turn it off on the map. And then what I've done with the coolant line, I've just looped it round. Originally you had one line that went to the throttle body and then the throttle body back to here, so that's just looped. I'm going to do that, get a new intake manifold. So I'm going to like reuse the hybrid racing gasket. Try and get this on here first time. Can I do it? Can I not? Yes. There you go. So it looks amazing already. So what I'm going to do is just obviously start getting all the bolts and everything put back in. Right, so before I actually put it on properly, so there's 2 ports underneath here, yeah, be on the bottom side because obviously it flips over. So I've just plugged them up with the 2 plugs that you get. There's also some fittings as well, so I've put the vacuum for the booster that goes onto the bottom there, and then for the PCV valve that'll go onto the end. So I can literally flip it over and push it on, and then that's it then. Start putting the bolts in and bolt it up. Right, so what I'm doing is I've got a Dremel, and basically I've cut like a slot. It probably won't focus, but cut a slot into, there you go, into this screw here, and then using my impactor with, where is it? Anyway, a flathead on the end of the impactor just to help it come out, because some of these have got a bit of corrosion at the end of the bolt. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm just about to start using the little Dremel, put a little slot into here. It has to be fairly deep, otherwise it's just you get like a little bit of material at the top, and then boom, there you go. So that's how you remove these stubborn bolts or screws. Right, hopefully, if it focuses, probably not. Anyway, got a slot in there, so it's wide enough now to get the flathead in, and I can start removing it. There you go. So that goes in there, impact over there, boom, straight out. And as luck has it, got some little screws and washers that fit, well, fit the new one anyway. So happy days, I can go and put it on. So here we have it, everything's installed. So TPS there with new gasket, got the throttle body, we've also got the beautiful Skunk2 intake as well, upgraded the size of the pipe going into the throttle body, so that's now whatever it is, 75mm. New air filter to basically adapt to this size, new coolant pipe as well, the kswapped one from Tegiwa, and then we also, in the background, if you can see it, we've got the Skunk2 Alpha headers on as well. So now this thing absolutely rips. It's absolutely mint. Sounds crazy. Needs a tune because it's running a little bit lean. But yeah, absolutely transforms the sound of the car. Feels a bit more peppier too. But I think with a tweak on the tune at RDT will like just finish the car off. Also, I put a fuel pressure sensor gauge inside the cockpit, so that's actually on the fuel pressure regulator there. It used to be here, but when I was leaning over to tighten something up, I broke it. So anyway, so I've got rid of that, and it's a good thing anyway, because usually when the gauges are mounted on the fuel rail, they sometimes leak and fail anyway, so it's a good point of moving that. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it. As you can see, it's in the garage now anyway, so the EP3 is outside. The plan is that now it's in here, we'll start getting some bodywork done. Gonna get it sprayed in here. Now, don't shoot me, basically I'm gonna rattle can it. So the colours to be confirmed, but I'm gonna rattle can it. And basically the reason for it is purely I haven't got the time to obviously put like a 2-pack paint on it, in terms of obviously I've got nowhere to do it other than in my garage. Obviously 2-pack paint takes a long time to dry, because obviously it's got hard and everything like that. I just don't think I'd get the finish in here, whereas if I use like a 1-pack paint, I can just spray it in the garage, it'll dry fairly quickly. And with my drive being south facing, I normally get quite a lot of like wind up the driveway as well, and pushing crap underneath the like garage door, so I need something that's going to cure pretty quickly. So that's the plan. So in the next video, what I'm going to be doing is obviously prepping and then spraying a car. At the end of the day, the shell's not a mint shell, so you know, I'm not really too fussed. I know a few people are like, oh, I wouldn't recommend it, but at the end of the day, it's my car, I'll do what I want. So yeah, I think that's the way I'm going to go. At a later stage, I'll probably get somebody to do it professionally and probably tidy absolutely everything up, but for now I just want to get it mint, head into the Nürburgring in like 2 months time, so, no, 2.5 months time I think it is. But yeah, I'm waffling now, so hopefully you enjoyed it guys, and if you want any feedback on the bits that I've put on, obviously I've been driving it, because ultimately, you know, the bits are absolutely mint. Like I say, quick tweak on the tune, yeah, on the tune, and yeah, should be a ripper. But anyway, I'll leave it there, guys. Thank you for your support as always, and leave some comments down below, and yeah, if you're not subscribed, subscribe, and don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Peace. Purple Lamborghini lurking.